Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Yes, if you want to live a great life, fulfilling, feel good about yourself, and then, of course, about others, you got to do this thing called self-care. And we've been talking about that for the last couple of podcasts, and we left off with her in looking at the 8 dimensions of wellness, all the eight different things that you need to really pay attention to get the self-care thing done and really be well overall. And she helps people do that all the time as an amazing life coach. Millionaire Williams is back with us. Hello, how are you doing?
I am doing the P word. It's called phenomenal lifestyle.
As it should be, as it should be.
Yes.
I guess this is sort of the secret of life, these 8 dimensions. And we started them last time. We ran out of time. So we're going to,
we always,
we do. But you know what? It was good. We learned a lot. Why don't we recap the ones that we went over and then go into depth of the remaining ones?
Sounds good. And hello there, audience. Good to be back with Steve once again and digging in as these gems of life and these nuggets we got to grab. And, we just got to come into that place and say, yes, I'm going to grab hold of this and do it. Just do it. I love Nike. They said that. I'm giving you props, Nike. So let's just do it. So with that being said, the 8 dimensions of wellness, and Steve, if you don't mind, I'm going to read them because I do not want to leave one off, okay?
No worries at all.
They are physical, emotional, mental, social, environmental, occupational, spiritual, and financial. So those areas of life, when we have balance in all of those arenas of our life, believe me, you can wake up and have peace of mind. And even when all hell is kind of breaking loose around you, you're still able to keep a sense of calmness because you're not being pulled and caught into that situational, environmental episode that's going on in life. Does that make sense?
Totally. It's almost as if, and it's going to happen, just had a hurricane. You're going to have a storm that's going to engulf you. It's going to happen. But if you have balance on these 8 dimensional items, it's almost like the tree you're holding on to during the storm. Storm's going to pass, you know it is, but you have something to ground you during that whole entire time. Because again, if one thing is missing, it's like the wheel on a car, and that's why we have balance. You get your car balanced, so the wheels work better.
It's out of balance, right?
Yeah, you're out of balance, right?
And we all get out of balance at times, but the key to that is getting back as quickly as you can. And as a life coach, my whole premise is you can't stay stuck. That's never the option. So go through it, deal with it, but don't stay there. Don't hang out there. Because Steve, there's some people, they hang out for years in those places and they're just like the Walking Dead. You know what I mean? You're walking in life, but you're not living. You're not, grabbing life and waking up to this exhilarating moment. You're breathing. I wake up sometime and I'm like, oh my God, I get another opportunity to do this called life, and I wish one day, Steve, I could just like wake up and sprinkle the whole world with millionism stuff. You know what I mean? And just see what that looks like and it feels like to people. But I'm wishing. So yeah, let me go back in here. But
but it's true. It's are you alive? Are you going to thrive? And if you nail these things, and some of them are easier than others, but we put the blocks up. We have those limiting beliefs that probably go back to our childhood. And a lot of people want to play the victim. So like you just said, getting stuck in one spot is not serving you.
It isn't. And it's not serving the people around you either, because, when people engage in these kind of toxic behaviors and they don't, take time to look at their lives and evaluate and do some internal navigating and investigating, you know, they have a tendency to blame everybody else outside of themselves. And, you know, you just can't stay there because sometimes it's us, you know, and we don't want to like really accept that it's us. But
Mm-hmm. Yep.
there are times, you know,
Yep.
we're the guilty target, you know. And then my thing is just own up to it and move on. You know what I mean? Don't hang out in excuse land, which a lot of people do. Cut the excuses, you know. And people know when you're making excuses to your behavior, you know. And I tell people, just be human, because bottom line, none of us are perfect. So you're gonna slip and fall and, you know, hit your face, drop your face, pick it up and keep moving. You know, people are gracious. Just be honest and be straight about it and go on.
And this is going to hurt. Take responsibility.
Uh,
It is. It's, I tell my daughter that all the time, when she was supposed to do something and she didn't.
right.
But I literally did. That's her favorite word. I literally, well, okay. But it wouldn't have happened if you took that. I'm not criticizing. I'm just pointing out for next time. That's all. But
Right.
everybody needs to accept what they
Yeah,
do, what they don't do.
exactly.
Because if you don't, all you're doing is just deflecting off of you and you're going to get
Yeah,
nowhere really fast.
yeah, yeah. And it just makes the atmosphere so negative, the energy
Mm.
that comes
And
from
then
that
there's that.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the after effects, it's like after smoke, you know, it's like
Yep.
that's that stuff just doesn't feel good. But getting back to these dimensions of wellness and the physical aspect of it, you know, exercise is medicine. And that's something that people don't, you know, because it took me a long time. I get on here and I say I'm 67 years young. And, you know, it took me a while, Steve, to really get into that space of, you know, on and off, on and off. And I'm like, Million, stop it. You make time for everything you want to do. It's not a priority. That's what your problem is, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
So if you move that item further up on the list and it becomes a priority, then, you know, so sometimes we have to shift the brain cells in there to say, okay, if, you know, I need to lose some weight and I've got some obesity things going on here or whatever that is, you know, eating right, the nutritional side of it, along with the exercise, you know, and people, you don't have to start out just taking on the world and, you know, tomorrow morning you want to lose like 50 pounds. No, be realistic with yourself and be gracious with, you know, the behavioral changes that you're going to do. And you know, stay in that place. And if today you don't get back up tomorrow and get back on it, you know. But
Mm.
one of the things that I've learned to do also, Steve, I have these little, I don't know what I call it. I don't know if I gave a term for it yet, but you've got some great terminology. So maybe if I put it out there, you may give me something. Because when I said that I'm a self-care guru, you said, no, you're a warrior. And I'm like, I've actually changed it on my website, so to say. So, but, you know, sometimes I have to play with my mind. And when I say that, you know, when I go to bed at night, I'm like, okay, Million, you're going to get up in the morning. And I have this talk with myself, telling myself, putting these commands in my mind, going to bed at night. You know, you're going to get up in the morning, you're going to ride your bike, you and your hubby are going to go around twice. When you finish, you have a 9 o'clock appointment. So I do this self-talk in the brain when I'm going to bed. So I'm like accepting what I need to do for the next day. So I'm getting myself prepared, putting myself in position to win for the next day. So I'm not waking up like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know, where am I? What's going on? You know, having that organized focus for your life when you and I have what I call I give all kind of titles to stuff, but I call them my love notes. So at night before I go to bed, I take a look at my calendar and I just take a little note and I write down what things I've got to do the next day and I post it on my mirror. So when I get up in the morning, it's right there on my mirror. It's back there again. My focal point is there, and I'm a visual learner and a visual person. So I know that I need to see it.
I'm the
You
same
know,
exact way. It's,
yeah,
we have technology, put
yeah,
it in your phone, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
all great.
Yeah.
Post-it note, greatest invention ever.
I'm telling you, I swear by, I live by him, and I will probably die with a Post-it
You
note.
know what? I just kind of another term for it. We call it post-it notes, but it's really it should be a poke-it note because it's almost like poking you in the face
Oh,
because it's sitting there in front of you. Hello, you need to do this. Hello, where
great terminology for stuff. Oh my God.
that's what it does for me. And if it's on your phone, yeah, that's great, but it's not in your face. When I'm
Right.
at, the desk here,
Yeah. Yes.
here's a list of things I
Okay.
haven't gotten to this week, but it's sitting
Yeah.
right there. And it's almost like a guilt trip. Like, you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Come on, you got to get it
Yeah.
done.
Because you also gave me one. See, I even have the big ones. I've got the little ones,
Oh, sure.
But last podcast you gave me healthcare champions. You're always throwing out some nuggets out there, and I'm grabbing them as soon as you give it to me. I'm like, oh, I gotta write that down. That's another good one.
Stuff pops in my head. I don't know.
Yeah, and I love it. But those little things, they work.
Yeah.
So that physical activity, it creates health and wellness, and we all know this. We all know this. And the more you sit, the more sedentary you are. Your muscles, they get stiff. And believe me, we even sleeping at night, you got to think about your body when you sleep at night. You're still for however many hours, there's no movement at all. So when you wake up, even, like as soon as you do what you need to do in the restroom, you're brushing the teeth, you're doing what you got to do when you wake up, just stand there and do some stretches and move, do some neck. These are things that are so minor. One of the other things I started doing, because my husband and I, we have a routine. We get through for the day after dinner. We love our Netflix. That's like me hour time. And we just enjoy sitting there. And I got some weights, as I'm sitting there watching TV. So, I'm sitting there doing my stretches,
Love it.
these are just all little things, Steve, that can be incorporated. And over time, and I keep the weights on the couch where I sit. They stay there. Unless we've got company, I'm gonna, move
Sure.
them. But you know what I mean? But I
Mhm.
always say to people, think of things that are going to help you keep that focal point, you know. Whereas if I had them, because we have a gym in our garage, full blown gym, and that's great. But when I'm sitting there watching TV, I'm not going to be running out in a commercial to go out there to the gym and lift some
Sure.
weights. So those, you know, 10-pound weights, I've got them sitting there. So these are little things that you can think of, like how can you help yourself navigate and do things to help the process. So that's helping me, Steve. You know what I mean? I
And
would have
isn't
never.
it amazing, millionaire, when you wake up in the morning, as you get older, you feel a little, ow, just get out of bed. Ah, you do like 60 seconds of stretches. What a big difference. Now imagine if you multiply that and you get up to 20 minutes or a half hour. You should be doing it.
Yes, we
Get in the habit of doing it. It's just you got in the habit of not working out, get in the habit of working out. Is it going to
yeah,
be overnight? No, it's going to take a little time because habits do take time,
yeah,
scientifically
they do.
proven, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But all these things are little minor bits that you can continue to just keep going at it. And before you know it, your body is feeling rejuvenated. You're getting your blood moving around, and the blood needs to move up and down, that heart pumping in and out. So why not help your system maintain, thrive, having a healthy body? Because, Steve, I don't care how much money you have, how many degrees, how much fame, once your health is gone, and even if it's not gone, but when it's affected,
Mm-hmm.
there's some things that knock us down, and you can't even do what you do on your daily routine.
And no
You're,
money is going to bring that back from
yeah,
most challenges that we could have. And it's funny, when you were younger, didn't you always hear, you know, your health is everything. And when you're younger, it's like, man, fine, no problem. I don't know what they're talking about. What's the big deal?
yeah,
You know? but it
It's like you're
is.
speaking another language.
But it is. No amount of money, if you've got challenges that you can't come back from,
Oh yeah.
what's who cares? Who cares? You know, it's like talk to people that are dealing with
Oh
you know,
yes.
certain situations right now. And they would tell you.
Oh yeah. And believe me, and when we talked about that other the chart that had the behavior, as far as our behavior, what we do, how we act creates a healthy living style, or it can be a negative. And sometimes we can add to our own demise. And oftentimes we do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we don't like giving up certain things we like to do, but a lot of things we do are very detrimental to our bodies.
And we don't realize we're doing it either.
We don't, and I
Mhm.
tell people, recognize the body is a beautiful machine that the Almighty put together, because you think about it, if you didn't experience pain, you wouldn't even know that something was wrong on the inside of your system. So pain is an indicator. And sometimes people like, I'll be okay. And I'm not talking about, being hypochondriac, but sometimes I think people dismiss certain things that are going on in their body. And that's the body's language
Mm-hmm.
of talking to us. If something is persistent and when things become chronic, that is not good. You may get a little something here and there, but if things every day, each week, you're finding that pain is still there, you need to call the doctor and have things checked,
Yeah.
and because I tell people, you only get one you know, and if I could have made a call that would help diminish, mitigate, or take care of this problem, you need to handle that. So very important.
And you
Only way.
talk about the machine that we're in. Uh, it heals itself
Yes.
if you give it what it needs. And what it
Yes.
needs is balance. It's the 8 things we're talking about right now.
Yes. And the other one, as we leave that physical realm, is the emotional.
Mm.
Emotional wellness involves the ability to understand your own feelings, which most people go through life and never understand their own feelings. They just project it on other people.
Yep.
Accept your limitations and achieve emotional stability, which equals what is called emotional intelligence, which I swear, I wish they taught that in school from kindergarten on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't even recognize what emotional intelligence, what it is.
And isn't
And
it interesting? I don't know if you've ever heard this, millionaire, but
Mhm.
I've learned this recently, and it is the
Mm,
word emotional intelligence. Boys, when they're very, very, very young, have much more emotional intelligence than girls, much more. But we don't recognize that. We don't realize it because of society. Because what do we tell boys? Stop.
mm,
Big boys don't cry. Stop. Yeah, you'll be
right.
fine. Be a man. Man up.
That's a very good point.
And then and I look, when I heard that, I thought about some of my friends' sons who were younger. And
Right.
sometimes they say the boys can be kind of crazy. Well, maybe it's because they're suppressed and they're not allowed to
Yes.
show their emotions.
Yes.
They're not allowed to express it.
I
Um,
agree.
and then that's how they do. That's how they express it when they're, 4. And then later on, girls catch up, but
Right.
way more advanced. Google it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Now you got me. Yeah.
a
Because
psychologist told me that, and she's actually writing a book for men and boys to
oh
bring this
my,
to light. Yeah, yeah. Isn't that
that is
something?
incredible, Steve, because I've never heard that. But yes, I will Google that because that is amazing. But yeah, we as a society, our culture, our traditions,
Yeah.
we throw this on young children, and it wasn't even meant to be that way. Because I know my husband, he was a Marine for 27 years. And the whole thing with Marines is like,
Yep.
become emotionalist, and I understand that because when you're on the battlefield, you sure can't be like, oh my God. I get it.
Yeah, I
You
get it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was so funny because when we first met, he was just this staunch. And I used to, because I love comedy. And I used to say, yes, sir, gunnery sergeant, sir, whatever you say, whatever you need me to do. Yes, yes, walk. He would bust up laughing. And Steve, it was the funniest thing. So that just became a thing that just kind of helped him. And I said to him, I said, husband, it is okay to smile. It is okay to laugh. So I get real silly and I keep him, you know,
hmm
in that space. And, we've done this 19 years now. And I told him, I'm like, my God, I've never seen you laugh so much in all of my life, but it is a great thing.
Well, you know what? It's the yin and the yang. You balance each other out that way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's a reason.
you're right. Yeah, because he has to reel me in sometimes, Steve.
Yeah, well, he probably grounds you, but
Yes,
there's
yes,
and
absolutely.
I feel that's the best way because
Yeah,
there's things in him that are not in you, and vice versa in terms
yeah,
of
yeah. Because
approach,
you
emotion.
wought need 2 millions in one household. I'm going to tell you that.
I'd have to talk to your husband about that. I don't know.
No, no, I can confess on his behalf.
Okay, all right, fair enough, and probably he would say the same thing. You don't need two of me around.
Yeah, yeah.
One's
Because
enough.
I'm just like this all the time. I'm like a jackrabbit at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can wake up, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, Million, calm down. There are
Mm.
times I told him the pillow talking, we're talking. He's like, Million, go to sleep. Tomorrow is another day. But I get so excited and full of passion, and God knows, don't let me get this great thought. It's like, oh my God, but let me just tell you one more thing. Million. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. The balance.
yeah, yeah. Keeps
Got
you in
to
check.
yeah. And believe me, I stand right up at attention.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't want to run out of time. We have like 3 minutes left. Did we hit everything on
Ooh,
the
did we
list?
do that?
Yeah,
Wow. Steve,
it
where?
happened last time, right?
I know we just have too much of a good time. I think that's
Yeah,
what's happening here. Well, the next one is mental. So we'll talk about that the next time, but mental wellness, also referred to as an intellectual wellness. And it implies that you can apply things you have learned, create opportunities to learn more, and engage your mind in lively interaction with the world around you. So we will expound upon that next time together. And I tell you, it's just a great time whenever I see you. And
same.
it's great.
I totally agree. And this is all universal stuff that we people don't talk about that is so important to move your life forward and really live the life you want. If somebody wants to really harness all of this, you work with people all the time and help them realize their goals, find their purpose in life, nail the eight, we'll call it the great eight.
Right.
We find you where?
Ta-da! All over the internet. But Millionaire Williams, that last name, it's a little tricky there because it's HEIR hyphen Williams. But if you Google me, I'm on Instagram. My website is www.effectuallifecoaching.com. Also via phone still, 661-341-0730. Give me a call. I want you to live a phenomenal life. It is possible. Let's tap into it.
That's why we're here. There's a reason that we're here. It's to have
Absolutely.
that life. It's not to be miserable. The universe wants that for you. And sometimes things get in the way, and sometimes you have to help yourself. Big question, final question. Need to know it. Are you ready?
Ta-da.
What are you watching on Netflix tonight?
I think we're doing a movie because
I think we're doing a movie tonight too.
yeah, because I tell you, when you get caught up in that series,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to go to bed. Sometimes I have to like force myself. So yeah, I told my husband, let's take a break from some of the series. Let's do a couple movies.
M-
So there's an end zone. Okay, please.
My girlfriend told me last night, and of course, just what you said. I was on the phone with her like 11:30, and she's still going. I'm not even kidding. And now she texts me, I'm tired today. Well, okay. Um, have you ever heard of or seen the movie called The Town? I think it's called The Town.
No, but I'm writing it down.
But people have told her it's a great movie. I don't know anything about it. I can't think of the actor's name that's in it. Not going to get it, but
don't worry. I will be watching it.
yeah,
So I'll probably
people said it's good, but I'll probably be watching it tonight.
done deal.
All right. Always great talking with you. Have a fantastic weekend, a phenomenal weekend. And,
there you go. It's always in the P word.
It's always there. And then we'll catch up next time. Okay.
All righty. Have a good one.
You too.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.